We left off in our story with Taehyun having dealt with one annoyance. Taehyun took a moment and examined the new skill he just acquired. Meanwhile, Hyunsu struggled against a giant ogre. Frustrated and lying on the ground, he pondered if death would be the fate of the hero of justice, An Hyunsu. However, Hyunsu's body disappeared when the ogre attacked. Taehyun appeared behind the ogre, carrying Hyunsu's unconscious body. Taehyun says, "What the hell? You're totally flat on the ground after all. It looks way more comfortable now," Taehyun remarked from behind the ogre. The ogre, bewildered, turned around to find Taehyun standing there with a large smile edged on his face. Now, due to the level of cruelty that Taehyun is about to unleash needing to be censored, we will skip to the next day in our story. Now, the news announced the removal of the gate break warning, but the whereabouts of the giant ogre's corpse and the assailant remained unknown. Hyunsu addressed the media, modestly stating he wasn't the true hero, but no one took his claims seriously. Nurse Choi Nang, confined in the hospital, reported waking up in the evacuation center. Despite the lingering uncertainties, Taehyun watched the news, relieved not to be implicated. Standing before the dungeon entrance, Taehyun contemplated advancing to the next stage. As a D rank with 15 strength, 20 stamina, 15 speed, 40 mana points, 5% fatigue, and 40 over 40 magic remaining, he now possessed 3 skills: Predation, Stone Skin, and Stealth. Acquiring Stealth was a significant gain, but managing all 3 skills posed challenges. Taehyun believed potions were the best solution against mana depletion and fatigue. To earn money for potions, he needed legal permission to hunt inside the dungeon. Entering the dungeon of the Spider Sisters, intelligent monsters classified as B rank. Unsure if consuming hundreds of them would raise his experience points enough to change his rank, Taehyun eagerly ventured into the undiscovered dungeon. Taehyun continued his internal monologue, disregarding the Spider Sisters' warnings. Feeling belittled, the spiders, particularly one with pink hair, conjured a purple flame and launched an attack at Taehyun, declaring their intention to devour him alive. They were confident that Taehyun would be paralyzed, but to their astonishment, Taehyun emerged unharmed. A mysterious power resistance within him succeeded, and Taehyun calmly remarked, "As I predicted, you had quite the useful skill," leaving the Spider Sisters confused and trembling. Despite the pleas for mercy, Taehyun mercilessly slew all the Spider Sisters within the dungeon, and for good measure he did the same for the horde of spiders too. This successful predation registered a new skill, paralysis, on his stat window. Meanwhile, in the new South Korea Player Association, a meeting took place. The New Korea Association comprised 5 player centers, each representing a major guild. The guild master of the Nightwalkers and the chairman of the association discussed recent events. Ji Jinwi provided information about the Malignant Guild, a criminal organization with a sinister agenda. Yu Ah-young, confused, sought clarification about the purpose of the meeting. Ji Jinwi, with a laugh, asked Yu Ah-young about when she took the player test. Yu Ah-young mentioned taking it at the age of 19, but realization dawned on her as Ji Jinwi hinted at the potential of a high school student rivaling a monster in combat. As Taehyun immersed himself in his thoughts, 3 classmates approached him, drawn by the rumor of Taehyun's confrontation on the roof. The news of Taehyun's awakening surprised them, fueling speculation that he was now entangled in significant trouble. Their conversation was abruptly interrupted by the entrance of 3 imposing figures. Slamming his feet on top of the desk, the leader of the school bullies, Lee Jung-jae, sat across from him. Lee Jung-jae, an S-rank awakened and the 3rd-generation key figure of the T-san group, took a prominent position, emanating hostility. As the mastermind behind the harassment of Taehyun, Lee Jung-jae warned him to tread carefully in choosing his battles. Undeterred, Taehyun told Lee Jung-jae to F off, rallying up the 2 lackeys that came with Lee Jung-jae. Surprisingly, Lee Jung-jae's punched his own subordinate for showing disrespect as he was having a civilized conversation. Leong acknowledged Taehyun's spirited victory over Haikusu. Taehyun, ready for a potential conflict, had his focus redirected by the entrance of Lim Ah-young. The class president, along with many other titles, was also an S-rank awakened, model student, and a prospective SS ranker. Lim Ah-young intervened, urging Lee Jung-jae to cease bullying Taehyun. Lee Jung-jae, attempting to downplay the situation, claimed it was a mere chat. Lim Ah-young pressed him about punching his lackey, prompting a warning for Lee Jung-jae to leave. Despite Lee Jung-jae's defiance, he decided to halt the bullying, denying any intention to fight Lim Ah-young. As Lee Jung-jae passed as if he was leaving, he cast a flame and glanced back at Lim Ah-young in order to do a surprise attack. The imminent confrontation was diverted by an announcement from the school's broadcasting club. A special lecture by the Players Association was scheduled, providing a temporary reprieve from the brewing conflict within the classroom. The announcement echoed through the corridors, directing all students to assemble immediately in the main hall. The call was repeated, capturing the attention of Lee Jung-jae, who now found himself intrigued. Locking eyes with Lim Ah-young, Lee Jung-jae offered a smile and gracefully exited the room, declaring Lim Ah-young lucky this time. Unfazed, Lim Ah-young maintained her magical power as a precaution against any surprise attacks Lee Jung-jae might attempt. After Lee Jung-jae's departure, Lim Ah-young checked on Taehyun, expressing concern for his well-being and assuring him that gratitude was unnecessary. However, when Lim Ah-young turned around, Taehyun had already discreetly left, his swift departure escaping her notice. At the door, Taehyun reminded Lim Ah-young of the assembly announcement and declared his intention to head to the main hall ahead of her. Confused by Taehyun's sudden disappearance, Lim Ah-young wondered if this was a typical display of his unpredictable nature. In the main hall, a sea of clueless students gathered, staring at the stage where Taewook, from the Players Association, introduced himself. According to Taewook, the association had two reasons for the special lecture. First was an apology for the lack of response during the gate break and safety training. The second reason was to inform students about changes to the player tryouts, emphasizing the crucial role these students will play in the future of the new Korea Player Association. While Taewook spoke, Jung-jae couldn't shake off his irritation about Taehyun being saved. Simultaneously, Ah-hyung was contemplating Taehyun and planned to discuss matters with him after the lecture. Taehyun remained unfazed, knowing that the real selection process was already underway through Taewook's observer eye skill. However, Taewook was particularly intrigued by two students, Lee Jung-jae with a score of 1,924 and Lim Ah-young with an impressive score of 2,335. He found it surprising that there were so many untrained awakens, making a mental note to submit recommendations to the guild. Jung-jae, seizing the opportunity, questioned Taewook about the suitability of some candidates for the tryouts. He asserted that the lecture seemed irrelevant for unawakened individuals. This prompted Taehyun to respond, asserting that attending such a lecture would only hurt the pride of unawakened individuals. Taehyun, seemingly pleased with Jung-jae's agreement, announced his decision to leave the hall and never participate in the player tryouts. As he departed, he raised his middle finger, expressing his disdain for the lecture. Taewook was left speechless, attempting multiple times to use his observer eye on Taehyun without success. And it was only when Taehyun glanced at him with a smile that Taewook's skill finally worked. To Taewook's shock, Taehyun's overall score was an astonishing 5,096, leaving him in disbelief. Several hours later, Taehyun found himself at the library, engrossed in reading books. However, his tranquility was disrupted when he noticed shadows cast by three men. They informed Taehyun that Jung-jae was looking for him. Taehyun refused to go with them, and the situation escalated with the library suddenly getting destroyed as Taehyun retaliated against the three men, showcasing his strength. Taehyun later confronted Jung-jae, who was accompanied by his bodyguard, Seol Hoon-do. Seol Hoon-do's attempts to use status effect skills on Taehyun failed, leading him to conclude that Taehyun might be an A-rank awakened. Jung-jae proposed a chat and expressed his intention to scout Taehyun for a guild he planned to establish after graduation. Despite Jung-jae's persuasive words, Taehyun's blatant dismissal led Jung-jae to assert his authority, aiming to instill obedience in his perceived subordinate. Soil Hoon-do discreetly enveloped the gym in a barrier, ensuring the privacy of the impending confrontation. The ensuing battle was marked by the young men's relentless attempts to land decisive blows, each thwarted by the other's adept defense. In a surprising turn, Jung-jae landed a clear hit on Taehyun, following up with a relentless series of attacks, confident that Taehyun would be incapacitated. To his astonishment, Taehyun emerged not only undeterred, but retaliated with a powerful punch. Subsequently, Jung-jae blocked and unleashed his S-rank skill, the epitome of intelligence, enveloping Taehyun in a fiery onslaught. Despite Taehyun shrugging off the flamed punch to the face, Jung-jae found himself gradually overwhelmed. As the battle raged on, Taehyun's punches landed with increasing precision and force, leaving Jung-jae struggling on the ground, bloodied and battered. Even the bodyguard couldn't help but notice the shift in the tide, as Taehyun asserted his strength and resilience in the face of adversity. Jung-jae, rattled and unable to move, screamed at Taehyun, demanding an explanation for his sudden defeat. Hundo, equally stunned, wondered what skill Taehyun had employed against Jung-jae. Taehyun, smiling at the success of his paralysis skill, Taehyun had acquired 3 skills through Predation: Stone Skin from Hyuksu, Stealth from Sango, and the latest addition, Paralysis from the Spider Sisters. Taehyun strategically avoided using all his skills from the start, recognizing the limitations of C-rank paralysis against an S-rank resistance, along with the immediate disarming of stealth against ranged attacks. Instead, he focused on accumulating paralysis through close combat. This approach proved effective, as Jung-jae, despite his high S-rank resistance, succumbed to the status effect. As Jung-jae recovered from paralysis, he admitted underestimating Taehyun and crushed a stone to summon a flaming, gigantic skeleton. This new skill surprised Taehyun, as Jung-jae used a mana exemplifying stone to temporarily amplify his mana, allowing him to unleash his true S-rank abilities. The resulting S-rank skill posed a formidable challenge for Taehyun, and the unfolding events left Hoon-do panicked, foreseeing consequences from this intense confrontation. Hoon-soo cautioned Jung-jae about the excessive magic power he was wielding, expressing concern about potential harm to Jung-jae's own blood vessels. During their exchange, Jung-jae suddenly directed a flame-like spear at Hoon-soo, causing an explosion in the vicinity. Fortunately, Hoon-soo managed to evade the attack, but tensions rose as Jung-jae vehemently rejected being ordered around by a lowly bodyguard. While Jung-jae continued his verbal assault, Taehyun, slowly recovering, observed Jung-jae reaching his full power. The flaming skeleton, under Jung-jae's control, relentlessly attacked Taehyun, with Jung-jae expecting his opponent's demise. Hoon-soo, sensing Jung-jae's lack of concern for consequences, rushed to Taehyun's side, urging him to retreat and promising to handle Jung-jae. However, Taehyun, delivering a powerful punch to Hoon-soo, despite the setback, Taehyun managed to stand and escape. Taehyun acknowledged the vast difference an S-rank wielded, consuming elixirs to replenish his fatigue, stamina, and mana. With a newfound determination, he activated his Predation skill, enveloped by a menacing aura, signaling his intent to take the unfolding situation seriously.
It's high time Taehyun stopped holding back and unleashed his full power on those who underestimated him. Despite the temptation to engage in flashy, revenge-fueled theatrics reminiscent of Dragon Ball Z, he opts for a more strategic approach. Taehyun invests his time in comprehensive research, seeking to unravel the mysteries of his awakening and showcasing a depth of intellect.
Welcome back. I noticed your absence for a while, and for a moment I wondered if you had fallen asleep. However, it seems you were attentively observing how a recap should be executed.
No, not really. If you're finding this story engaging, feel free to drop a comment below. I'd love to discuss the unfolding narrative and hear your thoughts. And if you're enjoying the tales shared, don't forget to hit that like button. For more captivating stories like this, simply click on any of the links by my side, and together, let's dive into more immersive worlds. Your feedback and interaction make this journey all the more exciting.